Thank you so much for joining today's webinar on WeChat Work. As I'm sure most of you are personally experiencing, this current coronavirus outbreak is really shaking up business in China. And so this webinar is the first in a series of webinars that Chatli is running to help businesses cope with this difficult and confusing time. So today, as you all know, we're going to be focusing on WeChat Work and how it can improve both internal and external communications. So let me go ahead and first introduce today's speakers, and then we'll get right into the presentations. We're first going to hear from Andrew, who is the Business Development Director at Tencent. We're very excited to have Andrew join us for this webinar. Obviously, he is an expert on WeChat Work, and we're really excited to hear what he has to say. And then following Andrew, I'll be speaking. My name is Lauren Hallinan, and I'm the head of marketing at Chatli. And I'll be speaking a little bit more specifically to using WeChat Work for sales and external communications. So let's just go ahead and get right into things. I will hand it over to you, Andrew, and yeah, let's get started.
Thanks, Lauren, and hello, everyone. I believe everyone's online. And I am Andrew, the Business Director for WeChat Work at Tencent. Today, I would like to share with you on how WeChat Work can actually enable a smarter business and the key pillars surrounding the connection capability it provides within the WeChat ecosystem, the great value it brings about to a company, especially in this uncertain time. Due to the impact of coronavirus, I think everybody will agree with me that industry where it relied heavily on offline operations have all taken a huge hit. The brick-and-mortar stores, warehouse, or even factories have either suspended or at best operating in limited hours, and customer flow probably at a history low. So short-term revenue would definitely fall short, of course, but companies in China are actually thinking of ways to cover the gap caused by this epidemic through online measurements. So thanks to the technology today that we can actually resort to them and find a way out. I still could recall that a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a head of studio of a renowned brand. He was telling me that his one-year digitalization plan for the brand has now been brought forward to literally now. He also pointed out it's gonna be tough, but if we pull through this hard time and have their foundations established well, they will be reaping the benefit once the virus is over. So in short, online business currently paused, but online business has fast forward already. So note this down and start your digitalization plan right now. I will urge you to do that. So through the course of digital and technology advancement, we could clearly see that the trend gravitates toward the core of business, data analysis to take actions with people. So starting from 5 years ago, I think we've been talking a lot about Internet of Things. And as data has accumulated through time, we talk a lot about big data and AI to make smart decisions. And once we have this decision, it's about how we get it done, how we get the execution part in place. So then the smart collaboration of how we build a coordination interface for people to actually get the execution part done. And once and for all, we also want to talk a little bit about how we interact with our customers. So we're not at the tipping point, given the coronavirus background. So any development regarding these two pillars has largely accelerated. So the two main actions I would suggest you to write down is first, to put your workflow online to achieve a smart collaboration. And secondly, for service online, to actually help you to engage with your customers better, to know your customers better. And most importantly, in this time, to do it online. And rest assured, this benefit, we believe, so to carry on online will still sustain when this epidemic is over. So for instance, the increased capacity of risk resistance to disasters. So let's get into the first part. I think workflow online, to my own perspective, it's about productivity. At minimum, it's about to maintain your operation. And at maximum, it's about boosting internal efficiency to keep up with this fast changing environment. I think WeChat Work allows you to actually converge your workflows and application with open APIs into a portal on WeChat Work, providing a single point of access with verified identity to achieve convenience, security, and manageability. So WeChat Work at default, it provides a set of toolboxes you can run at a spot. You don't need any, you just need a little bit of a configuration. You don't need to do any development, coding development. You can just use it. And I will go deeper, I could go deeper into it later on. Or you can think about integrating your existing applications in the form of mini program. Or if you don't have time at the moment, at this typical moment, you can think of it using an HTML5, which is a web page. It's also compatible with WeChat Work Workspace. So on the left-hand side, you can see that there is portal, identity, and control that actually converges your workflow into one place to achieve a single point of access, which can allow your employees to have a single point of view, and they can easily access to the workflows they have been doing on a daily basis. So now probably we can go into a little deep of how WeChat Work looks like. WeChat Work itself is actually, it's an app that actually resembles back with WeChat. It's all developed by Tencent. And on the left-hand side is the familiar interface of WeChat. And you can see on the right-hand side, WeChat Work resembles the design of WeChat, and it's adding a sense of work into it. So on the second tab, the organization directory for you to easily navigate to your colleagues and different departments for any coordinations, cross-department coordinations can be done in no time. And on the third tab, Workplace, to integrate your workflow, like I've mentioned on the last slide. In short, WeChat actually provides personal identity, accessing to life-related services, whereas WeChat Work provides company working identity, accessing to work-related applications. I'll walk you through some key features that can bring your workforce online, as well as increasing productivity. But before we move on, I think we can think about what application you would go to first on a typical Monday morning. Say for like, just wake up, what kind of application you would definitely go to? Okay, so nobody's answering me because I'm on a live stream. I think I'll go to a calendar, right? So whenever I wake up on any morning, I would definitely check my calendar. So calendar is the default tool that is actually embedded into WeChat Work. You can use it right away. It looks as same as the calendar you would find on your phone, but the key to this part is actually, it can actually sync from external calendar systems. So you can have your Outlook, you can have your Exchange calendars all synced in one place in WeChat Work, as if you can actually, well, combine it with any mainstream email protocols. So the key here is actually to combine all your workflows in one place. You can also do that within a chat room. Say if you are actually discussing or you're actually sending messages with your colleagues and you're thinking of putting it into your calendar. Say if we have a meeting just half an hour later, then you can think about using this chat room as a place to access to your calendar. You just need to long press onto a text that you want to actually pull through. Then you can see a calendar phrase on there. Or there's another way to do that. Within a message box, you can actually access by left swiping to a quick access, where you can actually place all your applications, all your workflows onto one place. It can be your own applications, or it can be all the default tools. Like in this example, I'm putting my calendar over here. So when I'm chatting with my colleagues or even my customers, I can actually pull off my calendar to see if there's a time slot I'm available, and I can check it with them immediately. So the key here is actually to combine our message flow with our workflow. And then I can get my things done accordingly. And after calendar, I think something that I want to point out is meeting. So during this typical time, WeChat Work team has already boosted our meetings feature to support 300 people holding a meeting. It supports both audio and video with 30 concurrent speakers. So you can actually think of 30 people can speak all at a time. We don't want to put like 100 people, or else it's just be a chaos. And also it has the capability of actually hosting, has a host capability, so you can host and manage your meeting. You can actually mute the people that you don't want them to speak, and you also can actually make sure of the meeting that is running through according to agenda. And also it includes some document sharing, screen sharing, and annotation abilities, which can make the meeting more interactive. Okay, and now coming to this feature. I think this is a key feature you must remember when this webinar is over. You can forget about calendar, you can forget about meeting, but not this one. Okay, I'm just kidding. You can start a live streaming with a corporate identity, broadcasting boundaries beyond your company to WeChat. So just highlight this word, this sentence that I was just rephrasing. You can actually do this live streaming through WeChat Work and directly reach out to WeChat. So in other words, you can actually not do it just within your own boundary of your company network. You can also extend your live streaming content or whatever you want to bring out of your service towards your customers on WeChat. And again, the idea of how we want to boost productivity is to put all the things into a chat room. So you can also initiate this live stream through a chat attachment panel on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see that there's a red circle. There, click on it, and your live stream is on the go. And this is just how it resembles. This is a Tencent mascot, and I told him that he doesn't need a mask at home, but he's putting it anyway. And this is how you actually will provide a view of live streaming. You can do it on the phone, and it will resemble like the left-hand side of the view, or you can do it on the PC, which will be like on the right-hand side. And during this outbreak, staying constant reporting of employee health status is important. So we also have this kind of tools to help you keep track of all the employees which are actually working remotely, and they can also report timely back their health status. So to conclude on this part, I think the first thing we want to talk about is default functions that we have. You can spin up meeting, you can have calendars to your handy, and also you can have live stream to actually get to your customers at no time. You probably want to think about building your own applications using our open APIs, or you can resort to third-party applications later on. Once you have brought your workforce ready online, then we can take a closer look at bringing customer service online and staying engaged in this uncertain period. The new PaaS, we like to call it that way, people as a service. So WeChat Work within the WeChat ecosystem is positioned as a place to help brands to provide service at the granularity of people, where in comparison with probably almost everybody will have an official account, WeChat Work offers a more of a detailed oriented way of interacting with your customers in WeChat. For example, you can actually have a one-to-one chat with your customers, whereas for a WeChat official account, you can only post similar contexts, which is a sense of broadcasting. And the most important thing about WeChat Work is it helps you to actually digitalize your customer assets. In other words, it's more like getting the friend relationship of WeChat account managed through an enterprise perspective. So let's go into a deep details. On the customer engagement part, I think the most important thing is about we provide your employee with a trusted identity. So when they are actually interacting with their customers, especially in this uncertain times, an official identity online is definitely important. We want to interact with a valid account, a verified account, but we don't want to be cheated. We don't want to not having a face-to-face experience and just making an order right online. It just doesn't feel secure. So the identity that WeChat Work provides to an employee is very important. And also, as well as from a company perspective, customer relationship is then therefore retained within a company. And as for the next advanced part, WeChat Work also supports you to have CRM integration. So you can have CRM plugged and played into WeChat Work, so you can actually utilize your CRM to interact with your WeChat customers. And on the other way around, you can actually extract all the data from WeChat ecosystem and fulfill it all the way back to CRM. And Chatli has the full experience on how to do this. So this is also a very important part where you can actually jot down. A couple of examples I want to show you. This is a very renowned department store in China. It's called Rainbow. And they have resorted to WeChat Work to actually achieve an amazing non-business hour sales of up to 16%, just because of the official identity it uses to interact with customers. And also WeChat Work supports mini program, so they can actually embed the token onto mini programs, so it can track the sales activity that this mini program has been generating. And the coupon redeem rate has actually risen upon nearly nine times higher than an usual rate when they're using like WeChat. So WeChat Work actually provides a sense of expertise into conversion. And now on to the second part is customer group. I would urge you to think about how to actually utilize customer group to actually help you to engage with your customers during this offline suspended period. So there's typically one-to-one group where you can broadcast message and any promotions, you can do it through that. Or you can think of forming a VIP group. You can put in your sales clerk. You can also pull in your sales managers into one group to actually service a VIP customers. So whenever they have a question, they can just put it in, and this group chat, whenever who can actually answer this question, they will pick up the questions. And the most important part where people would be very interested is it also has the sense of ownership. So any group that is actually formed using WeChat Work can be retained within the company. So say if I am using a WeChat Work to hold 100 people of a customer group. So all the other 99 people are all like WeChat customers. Then this group ownership is actually residing in the company, the brand, but not the employee itself. So once this employee leaves the company, this group is actually stayed. So this asset is actually safe and sound with the company. And also, a very important feature we must talk about is customer moment. WeChat Work moment displays looks like exactly like this. Exactly like in any WeChat posts that you can see on a moment. The only difference is the official identity it represents itself. So it always comes back to the sense of trust when we want to talk about the conversion online. So WeChat Work provides this kind of a feature. So I wanted to show you a little bit of an example of how one of our customers have been doing, namely Decathlon, has been doing over this period of time, how they have actually stayed engaged with the customers. First step, QR code. It's always as intuitive as it can be. They actually have embedded their customer group QR code within the H5 page, which is situated in their official account. And secondly, people can join in the customer group, just like some of you have been joining the customer group today to join this webinar. And then you can start engaging, like what we're doing right now, live stream. You can actually live stream, you can tell them about your product, your services, or you can even help them do some exercise during this kind of time where people don't go to the gym, but they need to stay home and they need to stay healthy. So they can think of all the ways you can actually interact with your customers and stay engaged. And also, again, you can utilize moments. You can say that there's some sort of promotions, and you can do it through Moment. And lastly, WeChat Work supports mini program, and mini program is a place where you can get conversions done. So you can place all your product, your services into mini program, and people can actually easily access to it and get all the transaction done over in that place. So to really conclude it in short, and you can put it down into your service online actions, first, to make connections. You have to have your QR code displayed, well thought, and you can utilize WeChat Work to do that. Either it's a person's QR code or it's a group chat work QR code. Secondly, you form groups. You want to categorize your customers, like whether their interest is or where they are located, their geographic senses. So you can think of how to categorize your customers in order to provide corresponding service to them later on. Then you can think about the engagement part. You have live stream feature where you can actually provide live streaming at any time to have your sales associates to interact with the customers more and let them be more touched, more engaged with you. You can also resort to customer moments where you can actually be shown on their customer moments when they scroll through their long day. And once they're interested in you, they can get in contact with you. And lastly, conversion. So with conversion, mini program is a to-go options for most of the brands, and I believe most of you have a very good understanding of how to construct a mini program. Then you can have this over here. So in short, I think WeChat Work provides you with a capability of enabling your employee to boost up productivity by providing your workflows online. And secondly, you can think about bringing your once offline business model, business operations online. And we provide trust by official identity. And we also provide engaging ways of group chat, customer moment, and CRM integration capabilities. And lastly, it also supports mini program. So you can have all this done in one place and all this done in one cycle. So this is how we are seeing people and seeing companies engaging one another using WeChat Work and WeChat. They are all on WeChat Work, and they have been utilized WeChat Work to provide service to the WeChat users. And I hope you'll be doing the same. So again, if you have any questions, you feel free to just write it down. And we have a QA session at the end, like what Lauren has said. And thank you for now, and I will be taking questions after the session.
Great, thank you so much, Andrew. I love those real life case studies from the recent period. That's wonderful that those were added in there. We will also be sharing QR codes at the end, so hopefully you've had a moment to scan Andrew's QR code. If not, you can join the group that we have going on WeChat and get in touch with Andrew. So I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. And you can definitely get in touch with Andrew and speak more with him in a bit. Okay, so before I get into my portion of the presentation, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our company, Chatli, as well as myself. I'm sure you're familiar with Tencent, so Andrew didn't need too much of an introduction, but you may not be familiar with Chatli. So in case you're not familiar with Chatli, we are an enterprise SaaS product that serves as an all-in-one suite for WeChat engagement, enabling end-to-end management of a brand's entire WeChat strategy, including marketing, service, sales, and commerce. So today, during this presentation, we're going to be, talking about WeChat Work and how that can be used, how your sales team can use WeChat Work, and also talk a little bit about how our Chatli Sales module kind of augments the capabilities of WeChat Work. So I'm going to be adding on to, what Andrew was kind of talking about at the end there, really those external communications, bringing a lot of your offline practices online. So, like we said, there's a lot of issues that sales teams are facing right now due to the coronavirus, and we're going to talk about some of those specific issues and how WeChat Work can solve them by bringing a lot of communications into WeChat Work. So the first issue that we're going to talk about is that offline retail is shut down right now. So this makes it very difficult for sales associates to get new leads because stores are closed. They don't have as many opportunities to interact with people. So even more than usual, they're really having to use online means, and that's likely WeChat, to communicate with customers and to try and acquire leads. But the problem with using WeChat for client communications, well, there's lots of problems, and we're going to talk. Those are the other 3 points. We're going to talk about lots of those problems, right? WeChat is designed for communicating with friends and family, not for work. Like Andrew was just talking about, WeChat Work has a very similar interface to WeChat, but WeChat Work really provides all of those tools that you need as a sales team. And I think that, a lot of the problems with using WeChat for work are amplified when lots of people are working from home and managers have less insight into what their sales associates are doing. They really can't see how their sales associates are interacting with people using WeChat. So the second problem is that, like I just said, there's no transparency both for customers and for managers if people are using WeChat, if sales teams are using WeChat for client communications, right? For example, for customers, it seems a little bit unprofessional to add a sales associate's personal WeChat, right? Does this person really work for the company? Is the information that they are sending me true, right? And for managers, using WeChat lacks transparency, right? They have no way to track what the sales associates are doing. They don't know how many new leads they're getting, how many conversations they're having. They don't have any insight into that. The next problem with sales associates using personal WeChat accounts is that it's difficult for managers to control the brand messaging, right? Sales associates might spread incorrect information, which is definitely, particularly a problem during this sensitive time period. And then the last problem is that with WeChat, sales associates may not be able to access their company's CRM system or view data about the consumer's interactions with the brand's WeChat properties. So they really have an incomplete view of the customer when they're speaking with them on WeChat. So let's talk about the first issue, right? The challenge of trying to increase online lead generation and how WeChat Work can help with that. So like Andrew mentioned with the QR codes, right? You can have a personalized, trackable QR code that can drive consumers directly to add sales associates. What's also great is that managers are able to easily assign incoming leads to sales associates. And also, like Andrew mentioned, they can do so comfortably, and they can encourage consumers to directly connect with sales associates on WeChat Work, because on WeChat Work, the brand owns the sales associate's contacts, and they can reassign these contacts if the sales associate leaves. So, if you have leads coming in through your WeChat account, you can easily send those leads over to the sales associates, and then, say that the sales associate decides to leave, you can transfer that contact to someone else afterwards. So it really is, it can put the managers at ease that they're not going to lose all of those contacts when somebody leaves. And then, during this time period, I've seen a lot of examples from brands. It's not just about acquiring new leads, right? This time period is really also an opportunity to go back and visit old leads, restart the conversation. So the great thing, here at Chatli, we have a Chatli Sales mini program that's integrated with WeChat, the WeChat Work app. And with this mini program, you can go into your CRM and you can look at a list of all of your leads, all of your contacts. You can view which stage of the customer life cycle the lead is in. You can view their profile and see, what if they purchased in the past, maybe why haven't they purchased anything. You can learn all about them, and then you can restart the conversation. Like maybe now during this time period, your brand is having, holding some kind of offer, and maybe now is actually the time to convert that user. So this is a great way through WeChat Work that you can go back and re-engage with those old leads. Okay, so now on to challenge 2, which was the lack of transparency, right? If people are using WeChat for communications with clients and leads, there's really a lack of transparency. So first, I want to address that on the customer side, right? So like I mentioned, if a customer adds a sales associate's personal WeChat account, they really don't know who that person is. Is this really a sales associate for this company? Can I trust them? But with WeChat Work, after they scan the QR code, they're able to see the sales associate name card with verified information, their name, company name, email. So they really feel that this person is safe and trustworthy, and that they can have conversations with them, which is especially important if you're in a more sensitive industry like the financial services industry, something where there's a lot of it's maybe high net worth, the price point is higher, people really feel much more comfortable talking to the sales associates. And then from the manager side, right, we said there's a lack of transparency on the manager side. Who are my sales associates talking to? Are they sharing appropriate and correct information? How many conversations are they having every day? So we can solve this problem using chat archiving. So WeChat Work allows for 3 days worth of chat archiving. But then if you'd like even more, you can use a platform like Chatli where you can store all of your chat archives. So again, this feature is particularly useful for sensitive industries like the financial services industry. You can go back and review all of the messages that your sales associates are sending. This is particularly useful if some kind of issue arises. You can search for specific types of conversations, specific keywords. You can download the chat archive, and you can integrate the chats with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So this really provides a very high level of transparency. The next solution for the transparency issue is, with WeChat Work, you can easily monitor your sales staff performance. So like I said, maybe you don't know what they're doing. They're working at home, right? You have no idea what they're doing when they're working at home. But with WeChat Work, you can easily see their performance. Sales associates don't need to waste time, logging info about who they've chatted with and all the conversations they've had that day, because you can already see it automatically. Managers, like you can see from the pictures here, managers can see stats like how many active clients an associate has, how many new clients they've added that day or that week, how many chats have they had, the reply rate, etc. And then the fourth transparency solution is that you can track conversions. You can track mini program sales. So with Chatli connected with WeChat Work, sales associates can share the e-commerce mini program, and it's a trackable link, so that if they share this with a customer and they purchase, you can track the sales performance. So this really provides a high level of transparency when it comes to, how well your sales associates are actually converting. Okay, so the next challenge that I mentioned was the lack of control, right, that managers have. So especially during this sensitive time period, it's important to make sure that messaging is consistent, right? That, you want to make sure that everyone's saying the same thing about, whatever your company is doing to show support during this period, any announcements you have about logistics, any sales or promotions you have going on, changes in staff working hours, announcing when your offline stores are reopening, things like that, right? You want it to be really consistent. So with WeChat Work, Andrew mentioned this a little bit, that you have, the chat groups, but here you can also have what's called an enterprise group message. So your company's marketing team can create approved, well-formatted contents, and then they can assign these messages to your sales associates or to your client-facing staff. And these staff will receive a notification, and all they have to do is review the list that this message is being shared to, and then they can send these messages as a one-to-one message to everyone on the list with one click. So to the consumer, it looks like they are getting a one-to-one message from the sales associate, but in actuality, this is a mass broadcast message. And this really ensures that there's consistency among what your sales associates are sending out. And for example, if you send a broadcast article that you might share on your official account, you could also assign all of your sales associates to forward that article to all of their relevant potential clients. And it's been shown that the read rates are much higher, in fact, 3 to 5 times higher, if you share the article directly to the consumer, as opposed to waiting for them to go into your official account and open the article and read it. So this is a really great way to also make your content more visible. And as we mentioned, through WeChat Work, you can also have WeChat Moments posts, and these Moments posts can also be assigned. So managers can create a WeChat Moments post and assign all of their sales associates, and their sales associates just have to, click 1 or 2 buttons, and they can post that on their WeChat Moments. And it's also very easy for the sales associates to share product material and the latest company documents with their customers through WeDrive, which is similar to Google Docs or a Dropbox. They can access all of the company files, make sure that they have the latest version right there. They don't have to switch apps or something like that. It's all found right within WeChat Work. And then the last challenge that I mentioned was that sales associates, when they're using WeChat for client communications, they have an incomplete view of the customer. They don't have all of the information about, maybe past, what the person has bought in the past, how they've interacted with your WeChat official account or mini programs, the conversations that they've had maybe with other sales associates, right? You don't have all of that at your fingertips. But if you're using WeChat Work, as well as a CRM such as Chatli, or you can access a 360 view of the customer right within WeChat Work. You don't have to switch into another app. You don't have to look at your CRM in another browser, right? You can just look straight into your CRM right within WeChat Work. You can get data from all of your brand's WeChat properties integrated right into that CRM. You can also see any notes that have been added by sales associates. You can see their product preferences, transactions in the past 12 months, their recent social media footprint. You know, you have all of that information right within WeChat Work. So, you know, you can look at that and then go right back to your conversation with the client. And I think that this is really useful, especially, you know, since we have so many people working from home. Having this mobile CRM that's integrated right into WeChat Work just makes it super convenient. And of course, if you have a better understanding of the consumer, then you're able to find more opportunities to convert this consumer. And you're also able to more easily share information between sales associates or between people in different departments of your company. And lastly, I'd like to share a quick case study of a financial services firm that we work with. You know, they recently had their relationship managers start to use WeChat Work combined with Chatli Sales, and they've seen a great improvement in customer inquiries and customer engagement. So before they started using WeChat Work, because they're a financial services firm, they weren't able to use their personal WeChat accounts for communication, right? There's a lot of regulatory issues. There's not chat archiving. So they had to use email. And as you all probably know, email is just not very popular in China. So because email was the only channel for communication, the relationship managers were getting less than 5 customer inquiries per day. And because of this low engagement, there's obviously less sales opportunities, upsell opportunities, right? So once they enabled WeChat Work, it's proved to be, they only did this very recently, but it's already proved to be a much more effective customer communication channel, right? So within 10 days, they had interacted with almost 500 clients. So that's, an average of 50 people a day as opposed to 5 people a day, right? That's a huge boost. And over 60% of those people, those 500 people, were highly engaged, asking them questions about investment strategies, about a variety of financial services related customer service questions. And as I mentioned, because they're using WeChat Work, it was very easy for management to review all of the customer statuses, all of their chat messages, and to make sure that all of the conversations were meeting compliance standards and that the conversations with the clients were secure. So that's all I have for my presentation today. And I would like to now switch over to the Q&A portion of our webinar. So feel free to start sharing your questions. In addition to Andrew and I, we're also going to have my colleague, Justin Xu, who is the product manager for our Chatli Sales WeChat Work product. He's also going to join the Q&A and answer questions as well. So if you hear another person answering, that's who it is. And also, feel free to join this group that we have. And if your question doesn't get answered during the Q&A portion, we can continue the conversation there. So let's take a look at the Q&A. The first question that came through, I see somebody's asking, I think Andrew, you'd probably be best to answer this question. It says, we run G Suite for Google for email and calendar and Dropbox for document storage. Does WeChat Work fully integrate with Google and Dropbox? Is there any connectivity issues or reduction of features? So maybe you could address this question.
Well, that's okay. That's going to be a tough question. And so in terms of our positioning, WeChat Work has actually opened up APIs and SDKs for you to actually plug and play with your own workflows or applications, like I've mentioned before. And just a second. So this is me. I'm Andrew. This is how I look like. And regarding Gmail or Dropbox, these kind of features, from our perspective, we are more likely than welcome to actually integrate with them. And but meanwhile, we also like to stress that we we have pretty much identical functions that you can actually use right away. So you can think of using default functions that is already within WeChat Work first, and think about the extensibility it provides. You can later on integrate with your systems. You don't have to be the whole, like say if you're on G Suite, you don't need to think about putting a whole G Suite onto WeChat Work, or else it's going to be too heavy, because I know it has its own instant message capabilities, which you can already which you can already use. So think about the part where it's missing, and you integrate the part where it's missing. I think that would be the best way to take on this approach. Yep.
Okay, great. The next question I think would be maybe Justin, you might be able to answer this question. It says, I mean, I kind of addressed this in my presentation, but it says, can we connect Salesforce service directly with WeChat Work? So Justin, do you want to handle that question?
Hi, Laura. Hey, hi everyone. I'm Justin. Oh, that is a good question. And yes, we can integration with the Salesforce service like the agent notes, customer information, or chat history. Or customer journey can be sent back to the Sales Club. For example, start with the client request for a demo or register on a mini program. Or maybe they add as a friend in the WeChat Work, we can get a unique ID. So once the customer sends out the personal information, then the system is created as a list to the Salesforce. Moreover, clients chat with the agent in WeChat Work and the WeChat, and the agent can easily detect the notes for customer. We can map it with the unique ID, so the enterprise can manage all the customer data in one stop. That is the Salesforce is much easier.
Okay, great, thank you. And I have another question. Another question came in that I think, Andrew, you would probably be great to answer, can international businesses sign up for WeChat Work? And what does that process look like? Is it any different for international businesses versus a China entity?
Yeah. Okay. So the short answer is yes. Of course, we're welcome for any business across the world as long as you're on Earth. We're more than welcome to let you register for a WeChat Work account. And as for the next detailed part, for entity, your actually company's entity licenses, we probably need still resort to mainland China's entity license. And if you do have your own country's license, feel free to provide it as a document, and you can actually verify the account through me. So there is a special approval that we need to go through, but it's always a way around. So we're more than welcome to do that. But given that the status quo and the procedure that we already have in place, probably not supported on if you just go onto the website to do that. But you can come to me. That's the benefit of joining this webinar.
Yes, personal access.
Exactly. You can do that.
Great. And I don't know which one of you would be best to answer this question, but someone asked, are all these solutions GDPR compliant? So feel free, Justin or Andrew, to address that.
This is also a good question and also a tough one, but I would say in short, we are actually running in a market that is actually not applied within GDPR. And so in short, we would not be affected if you are thinking of using WeChat Work to conduct any business activities or operations in China. But that said, doesn't mean that we are not giving any concerns or any of our notices into personal identity informations. This part is something that is very core to any internet-based company, and Tencent takes it very seriously. So we tend to have a lot of multiple security certificates like ISO 2701, 2708, and also we have passed a SOC 2 Type 2 report, auditorial report with PwC, to really justify and to really demonstrate that we are serious about protecting information, and especially when it comes to end users ownership and all that. So this part, I would say that, well, in regulatory perspective, probably it won't apply back to China's realm. But from our business conduct, we would definitely take this into a top priority. I would say it was best likely be #1 priority. So that's my pure statement, and it's crystal clear and it's transparent as ever.
Okay, great. All of Chatli's products and all of our solutions do adhere to GDPR. So that's not an issue if you're integrating back into Salesforce. That's not an issue as well there. So, and we can discuss that more offline if that's something that, you're very concerned about. So as I said, I just gave the case study just then. We work with a lot of very large financial services firms who are, very strict when it comes to all of this compliance. So, if we can provide a solution for them, I'm sure that it'll be compliant enough for whatever you're working on. So you discussed it a little bit in your presentation, but what's the difference in your strategy between using a WeChat official account and WeChat Work? Like, when are you using one versus the other? And then kind of to tack on to that, most Chinese employees are more inclined to use WeChat, right? They're more comfortable with that. So how can you encourage them to be using WeChat Work?
Okay.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I can share a little bit about our perspective, since we come from WeChat team and we are under the same group. So I think the principle is something that we have in common. Coming back to the first part, WeChat official account and WeChat Works positioning. I think this is something that is not a conflict, but rather is a complement to one another. So you can think of WeChat official account as a sort of your brand website. So it does like, it's like a storefront that when people visit your brand, you can actually easily tell them that, hey, you are this typical brand. Let's just take example, this is Nike. And you're coming in and you know that this, my brand logo is like it's a Swift swipe, and that is my logo. So official account is something that is on a more of a broadcasting meaning, and it takes a lot of constructing in terms of the post and context that you want to broadcast, because you typically have a lot of segmentations of targeted audiences. But when it comes to WeChat Work, it goes on to a more of a sufficient granularity. So it goes down to a person. When it comes to official account, it's more of a brand to a customer relationship. And when it comes to WeChat Work, it's more of your brand's staff, your brand's sales representatives, your brand's sales associates using WeChat Work to interact with your WeChat customer. So that gives a little bit of sense of how people connect with each other. And that also echoes back to what I'm saying about WeChat Work's positioning. It's about the new path, people as a service. And if you want to take an approach towards how to really balance it, I would say just go with both. And just make sure that you can actually place and position these tools in the right place. So you want to put all your broadcasting messages and all your likely services, common services that you want people to access through on official accounts. And whereas for detailed oriented customer services, you want to resort to WeChat Work. So there's many more functionalities you can go through that can actually fulfill your scenarios regarding customer support or some customer consultancy services that you want to provide, or even product transactions with mini programs. So these are all done within WeChat Work. So it's different granularity, different positioning, but you can use it at the same time. And I would suggest you to do it, because then you can have an overall strategy towards utilizing WeChat and connecting with your customers. So that's my overall answer, and I hope that's clear enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And what about the last point of, we talked about a lot of the benefits of WeChat Work for managers, but from an employee perspective, why, what's the benefit of using WeChat Work as opposed to your personal WeChat?
Yeah, this is a very very, very decent question, because this comes to the executional level. When you think about promoting, or you think about deploying WeChat Work within your own organization, you think about the benefits that you provide for both sales managers or for both your employees facing the customers. I think coming back to, I'll speak of the sales manager perspective first. So first, you will have the sense of manageability. You have a sense of data and control, because you will know what kind of group chats, what kind of moments, what kind of interactions are happening. And furthermore, with the feature of message archiving, you can also improve the service quality from a managing perspective. But from an employee's perspective, probably the biggest obstacle, the biggest challenges when you are actually pushing forward WeChat Work is that your employee will think that whenever they form a relationship with a customer, this relationship belongs to the company. So when they leave the company, this ownership doesn't belong to them. So this is down to the earth, a truth, a fact, but we are not going to say we're going to neglect it, but we are telling our employees that there are benefits towards using WeChat Work. It can actually ease your day. It can let you actually clock down early, because you don't need to go back to the CRM to input all the customer data, because you can have it done within WeChat Work. But whereas if you're using WeChat, you definitely need to leave WeChat, because WeChat doesn't provide the capability of you to plug and play into your CRM. So you can think of this as a benefit towards your first line employees. And furthermore, you can also, like I said, it supports mini program. So a lot of e-commerce, a lot of transaction, a lot of conversion related activities are done through mini program. Mini program can be embedded with a parameter of WeChat Work employees ID. So in that sense, any transactions can trace back to the people. So then they will have an incentive to use WeChat Work, because if they're using WeChat and they're just forwarding random mini programs, this can't be traced back to themselves, because they need to use WeChat Work to do that. Only WeChat Work provides the tracking parameters for them to count on their sales activities. So that's the two parts that you need to think of when you think about rolling out WeChat Work. This is very important, and this is a well asked question. I will strongly advise you to think about that, and think about the way that you want this to land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know, we both spoke to it, but I think also previously a big issue that a lot of employees had was not being able to post to WeChat moments, and now that's not an issue anymore. Because a lot of sales associates will use their WeChat moments as a way to, share information about products, and that was a real drawback, and now that's not an issue anymore. So I think that definitely helps with getting sales associates on board.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I want to be mindful of everyone's time. We've gone a little bit over an hour. I know that there's still some more questions coming in, but feel free to join that group, or to email me, to get in touch with Andrew, any of us, and we'd be glad to continue answering your questions offline. But I think we're going to wrap up here for today, and I really appreciate all of you coming, and thank you, Andrew, for staying up late and for participating in this. I really appreciate everyone coming, so thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you all.
Bye.